What a topic now. Hello, hello. We are going to talk about diversity recruitment hacks. Welcome, Wolfgang. Welcome, Ina. Hello, can you hear me well? Hopefully you
Hello.
can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, so we have Wolfgang Brickwedde, director at ICR Institute for Competitive Recruiting, and Ina Ferber, diversity recruiter and speaker at Ina Ferber Diversity Recruiting. Our virtual stage is yours, and I will come back to you at the end of the session. Enjoy.
Thank you. Ina, I guess you will going to start, isn't it?
Yes, I will. So we will do that presentation obviously in English. I hope that we know all the political correct terms in English, but if we are somewhere not up to date, please give us a hint later so that we know about it. And this presentation is about diversity recruiting. So we will talk about how to create a diverse shortlist and how to improve diversity throughout the whole recruiting process. And what is important to know is that there are two different approaches to diversity recruiting. One is you fight bias. You reduce discrimination throughout the whole pipeline, the whole recruiting process. And the other approach is the active approach. So that means you actively are making sure that you invite different diversity groups. And it is important to understand that you always need both approaches, because it's never enough to just fight bias and fight discrimination. First, because it's difficult to remove all biases. They are unconscious, so they will come back and make complications throughout our life. And also there are other problems like self-stereotyping that you can't fight by fighting bias. So that's why you always need both approaches. So let's look on how to fight bias. Now, one way to fight bias is you look into anonymous approaches. So there's a lot of research showing that if you know a name of the people, you deduct some, ethnical, for example, origin, or if you see a pic of a woman or a woman with a scarf, you tend to, not invite to interviews, not hire, and so on. So that's why anonymous approaches are helpful. And here is one example that LinkedIn created, because LinkedIn knows that also active sourcers are suffering from bias. So this is a tool of anonymization. So you see, you type your keyword, you receive your search results, and they are without pics and without names, so that you don't know if somebody belongs to a minority group or whether someone is a woman or a man or diverse. So this is very helpful. And if you have any other options to improve anonymity, so your ATS allows anonymous screening, for example, or you can do anonymous coding tests for candidates in software development. Anything that you can do to increase anonymity is very good to reduce bias. Also, most people in business don't like quota because they feel that if you have a quota, you don't hire for skills. Now, the thing is that sometimes you need a quota to get over certain hurdles. This is a statistic that shows obviously, if you have no woman on the shortlist, you don't hire a woman. But also, if you have only one woman on the shortlist, you also don't hire a woman. The probability to hire a woman is 0 if you have only one woman on the shortlist. So that means, yes, even if you don't want to do hiring quota, do at least a quota on the shortlist. Say you need at least 2 women or at least 2 minority candidates on your shortlist, so that there is at least some probability to hire them. And also, when we are looking on how to fight bias, of course, you need to look into your own bias. You need to look into bias of other recruiters and hiring managers. You need an anti-bias training. You need a self-awareness training. You need a self-reflection training. It doesn't come just like that. It's really hard work, and you need to do that work. So now we looked on how to fight bias, and now we will look at the other method, the active diversity recruiting method.
Yeah, I think it's my part then. Like if you you have your job advertisements and you're quite unsure whether those are gender sensible or not, there's a free of charge possibility. It's called a gender decoder. You just fill in your jobs specs and you get then a result saying this is something that you might want to change in order to be gender sensible. And if you do this, you won't, because that's a fear that sometimes goes around then in the recruiter community. If I do it gender sensible, will I then, block off the male community and or the male applicants? And no, they don't care. But the others, the women, they really like it, and you get more female candidates. And if you use this gender decoder thing, it's free of charge, and you can use it. This is not working. There's it. Free of charge. Oops, sorry, that was too fast. Gender decoder, it's a Cat Manfield. It's in English. It's available in German as well, but maybe you don't want to use it. Maybe in other languages as well, because it's a language possible in other languages. And it shows as a free of charge 30% more applicants in total and 22% more female applicants with inclusive job ads. So it makes sense to get more and more female candidates. There is a commercial version, but commercial alternative to this. It's called Textio. That's only available in English, I think. And it shows you then it's similar. It's a little bit more fancy, like it shows you that in colors, whether it's more female or more male-oriented language. And then you can do this a little bit easier. And they have like 1 million job ads checked, and see what works better than based on this research. So that's one thing or two things you can do if you want to check your job ads are gender sensible. You find the links then in the presentation. So next, back to Ina, how to hire more women into management level.
Yeah. So let's assume you want to hire more women in management roles, and you're working in a country with a gender sensible language. So like Polish, German, Swedish, where, for example, job titles have a male and German version. And so it's very likely, you would expect if you, for example, want to hire a purchasing director, the German job title is Einkaufsleiter, the female is Einkaufsleiterin. So you would expect if you use that female version of the job title, you get more profiles of female candidates, right? That's what you would expect. Well, you see any female candidates in this search result list? Obviously not, because this is not working. And the reason this is not working is that the search engines in job boards or in social networks, they know synonyms. It's not artificial intelligence. They know it already for 10 years or something like that. They know synonyms. They know Einkaufsleiter is the same as Einkaufsleiterin. So they deliver just all the purchasing directors, no matter whether they are male or female. So this is not a way how to get more female candidates. So then what else can we do?
It's a good way for not sourcers to find people, but for sourcers who would like to find female candidates, it's a hassle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then what else can we do? So that one you probably know. It's the first name hack. So first you go to Google, you Google the most popular first names, female first names in a particular year if you care about a certain seniority. Then you create a search string to search LinkedIn profiles by using Google, and you use profiles where the job title is the keyword and where you have one of the first names on the profile. And the result, wonderful, you have a list of women, because they are most likely women, they have one of these first names. So you have a list of women who have something like Einkaufsleiter, purchasing director on the profile, and from there you can move on and check which profiles fit best. Okay, so let's, oh, this is also a good one. Why does this work? You have the also an X-ray search. You have the job title, purchasing director, and then you have the keyword women or female. So why does this work? What do you think? I mean, these are not perfect search results, but you have several relevant search results. Why does it work? Do they put I'm a female purchasing director on their profile? Probably not, right? So why does that work? Because they are members of industry clubs for women. They have the names of these industry clubs on their profile. So you have the German job title, so you get profiles that are somehow in German language, and they have female or women on their profile because they are members in industry clubs for women. And that's also a way how to find more keywords to find relevant profiles of women, because you can Google other industry clubs for women, and then you can use the names of these industry clubs as keywords. Now, let's improve the first name hack. So if you want to do active sourcing, you want to find women for management, we've seen the first name hack is an option. And now you want to find purchasing directors who are women and who are working in a particular industry. So you would assume, okay, if you want to look at the book trade industry, book would be a good keyword. So we add this to our first name hack. And you see, this is just random. You have, for example, profiles of people who have the word book in their last name. So there is not one female purchasing director from the industry in this search result list. So why is this not working? Because they are not on LinkedIn. People from this industry in Germany are on Xing. Nearly all of them don't have LinkedIn profiles, they have Xing profiles. And there, the search string is working perfectly. You have the perfect results for what you wanted to find. People from the book trade industry with female first names and purchasing director or synonyms on their profile. So it's very important to always check if you have better search results on local networks. So if you're working in a gender-intense language, or if you're doing international diversity recruiting, you also have to look in countries with gender-intense language. Are there any places where the female job title actually helps? Yes, there are. This is one example where we use a female job title on Facebook. We are trying to find profiles of female engineers. And we go on Facebook, we Google the female version of the job title, we reduce the search results to groups, and then we click on a relevant group and we click on members so that we have a list of names of female engineers, and you can start working from there.
Yeah, that was the part of how to get female persons into the management levels. If this is your goal, if you would like to have more female software developers, for example, you can use another tool, another way of working, and I'll show you this just briefly. So the tool is called Amazing Hiring, and it's specialized on IT positions, software development, anything like you'd see. It's a little bit small, but software engineering from full stack, all software embedded. You can go by programming languages and that kind of thing. So everything an IT sourcer likes, and then you do this, and then you go for example for Python, and you look for people. And then you have a results page, but more interesting is you have a filter page. This is the results page. It's like in Germany, it's like 10,000 Python software developers in total with contacts, and 18,000 just with profiles. This is Amazing Hiring is gathering like from 50 different portals and communities, whatever, those profiles. So you have like 10,000 with contacts, which makes then active sourcing a little bit easier. And then you can certainly do the filtering. And there's one filter, it's called if you nice and persuade Amazing Hiring that you do this responsible, because you can do it the other way around, of course, but you can have this female, and then you have, it's like, I cannot read it by myself, around a couple of hundred female software engineers with Python knowledge. And this would give you then a chance to create the pool that Ina mentioned earlier to get more female software engineers on the shortlist. So that's one way of doing it, more female software engineers. And then we go back to another, or further on to another diversity category. That's like people would like to hire people with an immigrant background. Back to you, Ina.
Yeah. Yes. And yeah, this is important. For example, if you are in the US and you have to hire, for example, minorities with a Spanish, Hispanic origin or identification, or if you're in a country where you really want to hire people who are immigrants or from immigrant families, for example. And this is where this hack works. And we are looking at Germany and people of Turkish origin, because this is the group of people, the largest immigration group in Germany after the Second World War. And here we go again with our first name hack. We go Google the most frequent Turkish first name, then we build a search string to X-ray LinkedIn. We use a German job title so that we have profiles of people who are currently in Germany or at least somehow worked in Germany, and they have a Turkish first name, which makes it kind of likely that they have some kind of Turkish origin. So this is one way to hire ethnic minorities or immigrants or people of immigrant origin. And you can repeat this, obviously, with names from different countries and cultures to make sure that, if you need that, to make sure that you really have a broad cultural pipeline and a broad shortlist for your recruiting. That's yours, I think.
And doesn't it stop with first names? It starts with the self-description, or the how they call themselves. Like if you look for developers, now it's on Worldwide and LinkedIn, you see it's around 8 million profiles, which is pretty good. Everybody does this. But if you like for somebody who is not using this word, but rather a slightly different version, it's called developer. You find additional 1 million developers which just use a different name for themselves. So spelling differences in languages, please check before you look into certain countries, and or if you look for people from all over the world. The same applies to engineers. Engineers, it's written differently in certain languages, so you can tap into a much broader talent pool if you switch the descriptions or use them in your Boolean search. Just a quick hack, 1 million more. And yeah, if you do this, and it's just some short and quick hacks, we have a lot more. And we send them to you if you want to. But even if you do this very good, your good diversity recruiting needs strong roots. And I'm sure that we hear today, tomorrow, and the day after a lot more about diversity mindset, active diversity management, and go beyond diversity. We have talked about already today about inclusion and belonging, and I think belonging is even much more important than inclusion. And so you really keep the people that you hire and let them really have an interesting career like them, and show them their talent all over their career time. And this is then inclusion and belonging. And we hear something about this about the next 2 days. So no exclusion anymore. go for it. And I'm sure with our hacks, you're on the right track.
Thank you,
Lukas.
Wolfgang. Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you, Ina. We have actually 3 interesting questions, but no time whatsoever to address them. So let me just read them out to you, and maybe you feel like sharing comments in our chat window, maybe. The question go like this. Peter, what resources can you share with me around invisible disabilities to help make a slide deck? That's question 1. Isabel is asking, I'm unsure about anonymous sourcing screening approaches. If I can't ensure I have enough women in my sourcing pipeline, for example, 30 to 70 for a tech role, if I can't see the gender of the potential candidates. Evelina, shouldn't we be more focused on competencies and not on a particular gender or nationality? So these are the questions that our audience wants to leave you with. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. Wolfgang Brickwedde and Ina Ferber. Once again, thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to have the hacks, just connect with us on LinkedIn and we send them to you. And can we answer the questions or not?
Unfortunately, no time left.
Not.
But
Okay,
do so in the chat window, Wolfgang.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. I couldn't be happier stating the obvious here. This is one of those few conferences where, without having the word woman or women in the title, men are seriously underrepresented, if anything, which is a good thing, I'm sure we will agree, given the trends at conferences worldwide. Next up, because of the time zone limitations, we had to pre-record a very small number of sessions. The good news is all of them are very interesting. We'll start with Crystal Cook, Director of Diversity and Inclusion at the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants.